I was talking to a client the other day and they said, I don't know if I'm going to have the cardinal rule of my mortgage paid off in retirement. And it got me thinking, really what does that look like? And so I had to, do a little digging to look at how many people actually have their mortgage paid off or not. AARP says that 20% in less than a year after you have retired. And then you could see the graph here, possibly never, up to 16.63%. So there's a lot of people that are still carrying a mortgage in retirement. We're seeing that as a more common thing with clients here at Jazz. And so I really want to go through this in Nest Egg to kind of show you, okay, what would it look like? Would it make sense possibly, depending on your scenario, to pay off your mortgage or not? And now there are many different ways to look at this. Some people will say, well, you have to have it paid off. It's security. Other people don't think that. I'm looking from a planning perspective just on your dough. And so don't come after the messenger on this one, because I know some people have really hard beliefs one way or the other. But we'll take a look at this. If we haven't met, I'm Eric with Jazz Wealth Managers, where we don't just invest your dough. We like to educate you on your dough. Let's take a look over here at retired Roger and retired Rhonda. And so let's take a look. They are both 60 years old. Well, no, retired Roger's 60. She's 59. Both retired, though. As far as everything goes here, income, they will have some income, some Social Security income. Roger's going to get $3,000. Rhonda's going to get $2,200. And then we've got, they're both retired, $4,500 in expenses, not including housing. So that's not including their mortgage, their property tax, and their insurance. And then they have health care. This is based on national averages with health care expenses. So that's where they're sitting. They've done very well for themselves. They've got $1.5 million invested, all pre-tax though. And just to show you the way it's invested in this plan, what I'm going to show you is a 70-30. So a bit for growth, but not, aggressive growth when it comes to their retirement plan here. From there, they've got a mortgage. How dare them? And so $438,000 is their balance, 3.5% interest rate. They financed it in 2018. I'm going to first look at this scenario. Then I'm going to look at if they paid it off early. Then I'm going to bump up the interest rate, because so many people right now are retiring and they have a higher interest rate. And again, this may not be your scenario. Maybe it's just like yours. I'm just wanting to give you something to really think through on this. And then right here, as you can see, we're accounting for $8,000 in property taxes, $2,000 in insurance for them. All right, so if we've got the breakdown of their plan, we're going to take a look here and we're going to say, all right, they've got an 85% probability of success and potentially having $2.626 million at the end of the plan for inheritance purposes. Now, a lot of people look at this and they say 85%. If you're an educator, you're like, well, that's not great. I need 100% if I'm retiring. I want to make sure everything's good. This is based on a Monte Carlo analysis, 1,000 scenarios here. If you haven't seen this before, this is a way of looking at things is, in a sense, I would say, the world's best stock market, the world's worst, and finding a median line of those 1,000 scenarios that are ran there. Now, you can look at it in a different scenario. Some financial planners look from what's called a cash flow perspective, and we're looking at everything would happen in what's called a linear fashion. So everything happens equally every single year. The reality is it doesn't happen that way, and we know that. So that's why we like to be a bit more conservative looking over here. I'm very confident with talking with somebody and saying, I always say 90 to 100% on a probability of success. Well, you might want to consider spending a little bit more money. 80 to 90, you're really good. 70 to 80, you're still good. And then if low 70s, high 60s, I always tell people we need to monitor the plan a bit, because there might be the times where maybe you take the trip to Europe when the market's really high, and maybe you just, take the trip down the road and go camping for the times when the market's low. But so right here, we've got that 85%, $2,626,000. So what happens if they pay this thing off early? Let's say that they're going to pay it off here in 2024 and get that debt gone. They don't want to carry it anymore. Now, if we go back here, we have an 81% probability of success and $1.442 million. And so obviously it drops it. A lot of the reason for this on this scenario is because they have a very low interest rate. Their payment's not super high, and it's allowing them to be able to live and still make money on their investments. That's part of this whole structure. Now, where we're at right this second, though, things are starting to get a little more expensive. Interest rates are up. So let's take a look here and let's look if we change this up a bit. And we're going to say now that they have a 6.5% interest rate and there's not going to be any payoff. Obviously, it's going to be a strain on the plan because now your minimum payment changes to $3,160. So let's go here, take a look. Now, so we're looking at this scenario, no early payoff, 76% probability of success, $1.7 million. Again, totally different than that 3.5%. We have to look at this as almost like a separate plan here. This is a separate scenario for this person. But then what if we said, let me go back and get this number one more time so I can remember it, 76 and 1.7. All right, so that's where we're at. Now we're going to say, all right, they're going to pay this one off early. Let's look at what happens to them. And still the same payoff in 2024. Let's take a quick look. 79%, 1.373. So you're giving up a few $100,000 there when it comes to the end of the plan potentially, but your probability of success is going to increase. Makes sense because you're getting rid of the debt. It's a higher payment in your scenario. You're going to have less at the end of the plan, but the probability of success is going up just because you're not having that big payment looming over you that's going to make you have to get a better return on your investments the entire time through retirement. So crazy scenarios there, couple different ones. All will depend on your specific scenario, but it's not one that is a one-size-fits-all. That's why I wanted to show it like this. If you haven't done a financial plan, I would suggest taking a look at something like this if you are going to carry a mortgage. Figure out what's best for your scenario because it may be different than what you're hearing, some famous YouTuber on here say. All right, if you haven't checked us out, be sure to check us out, jazzwealth.com. We'd be happy to help you.
Hey, wait! Before you go watch one of our other great videos, have you had a chance to see our new FinTips videos? They focus on one topic at a time, covering investing, personal finance, and anything that can quickly help you with your dough. Best of all, we'll keep it real short, because we know time is money.